Alright, so today we're going to be making a crispy chicken paillard with Lyonnaise potatoes, chorizo, and Piperade. This is a pretty rustic dish which stays true to Provençal cooking, but it's also really robust and comforting in flavor. Position your chicken so the legs are facing away from you and find the wishbone. If necessary, trim any excess skin around the neck, slide your boning knife along either side of the wishbone and remove it. Chicken wings are made up of wingettes and drumettes. Remove both wingettes, but leave the drumettes intact with the breast meat. Next, smooth the skin over the breast meat and make 2 small incisions with the tip of your knife along the hip joints. Pop both leg thighs out of the socket, but leave the leg thigh intact with the carcass. This will act as a kickstand to hold your chicken in place while you remove the breast. Next, find the breastbone. Using the tip of your knife and smooth, careful incisions, slowly remove the breast from the breastbone, sliding your knife first along the breastbone and then along the carcass. Use gravity to your advantage and pull the breast meat down as you make your cuts. You want this to be an airline chicken breast, so make sure to pull that drumette out of the way when you're making your final cuts to remove the breast from the bone. Trim any excess skin if necessary. Repeat the process on the other side, repositioning the chicken if necessary. Remove the chicken tender and set aside for another use. You can choose to French this airline chicken breast by making a circular incision around the base of the drumette and pulling the meat over the joint. Then, using your knife, clip and remove the joint end. Marinate each chicken breast with extra virgin olive oil. Season the meat and skin side with kosher salt. Season the meat side only with finely minced garlic and finely chopped thyme. You will hard sear the skin side, so be careful and intentional as you apply your marinade. Now remove the leg thighs from the chicken carcass. You've already popped these leg thighs out of joint, so finding that joint again should be rather easy. Slide your knife in between the joint, being careful to dig out the oyster right beside it, keeping it intact with the thigh. Repeat with the other leg on the other side. Find that joint in between each leg and thigh and make a cut to separate the two. Set the legs aside for another purpose, perhaps to roast and add to your brown chicken stock. The thigh bone is one short bone. To remove, first locate it with your finger and then make an incision along either side using the tip of your knife. Slide your finger into the slit and begin to pull the bone up. Using your knife, clip the cartilage of the joint on either side of the bone. Trim up the thighs if necessary in order to make them look uniform. Season both sides with salt, and meat side only with minced garlic and finely chopped thyme. Roast the carcass, wingettes, thigh bones, and any trim, and the optional legs, and use for your brown chicken stock. Let's continue to break down the knife cuts for this dish. Trim the roots and the ends of your yellow onions and julienne them, following the natural lines of those onions. Peel your Yukon Gold potatoes and slice in 1/4 inch thick slices, or even just a touch thicker. The idea is that you don't want your slices to be too thin, or they'll likely fall apart during the cooking process. Next, take some of your flat leaf parsley and pick several florets. This will serve as garnish for your dish. Reserve any stems for your stock. You'll be using minced garlic in several applications in this dish, so mince all of your garlic at once. Finally, chop your chives, being careful to use a nice sharp knife, and take your time if necessary. Again, this is a garnish for your dish, so the knife cuts are important. Pick your thyme so it's free of any woody stems and finely chop. Similar to the garlic, you will see that thyme is used in several applications in this dish. Pick your tarragon from the stem, fold the leaves on themselves, and finely chiffonade. Run your sharp knife through that chiffonade several more times to finely chop. Now it's time to caramelize your onions. You need caramelized onions for both your Piperade and your Lyonnaise potatoes, so it makes sense to caramelize them first in one big batch. This process takes time and patience. It is likely you will be able to multitask while the onions caramelize, so plan your time accordingly. While the onions are in the beginning stage of caramelization, you can fry your reserve flat leaf parsley florets. Place about 3 to 4 tablespoons of extra virgin olive oil in a small sauté pan and place over high heat. Bring the oil up so it's hot enough to sizzle the parsley, but not so hot that the oil will burn. Add the parsley and sizzle, agitating the pan until it no longer pops. Remove it from the heat source in the oil before it cooks so long that the dark green color fades and turns to brown. Remove the parsley from the oil with a slotted spoon. and place crispy florets on absorbent paper towel until you're ready to serve. To encourage the caramelization process, you can add a cover onto your sauté. Now it's time to roast your bell peppers. You can achieve this by roasting peppers over an open flame or placing under a high broiler. Even an oven set to a very high temperatures will eventually char the skins of a bell pepper if need be, but open flame is best. Rotate the peppers often, adjusting them so that they cook evenly and char completely. Once completely charred on all sides, place in a bowl and securely wrap that bowl so no steam escapes. Allow peppers to sit for at least 10 minutes. These peppers are essentially steaming at this point, and as they steam, the charred skins are releasing from the flesh. Remove the plastic wrap and carefully remove the charred skin from the flesh of each pepper. It is important to do so over a bowl, and even better over a strainer placed over a bowl, so as not to lose any of those delicious pepper juices inside. Those juices are the essence of a piperade, a very important component. Remove all the charred pieces and the seeds. This process should and will take time. Be patient and thorough. Next, you want to trim the peeled peppers so that they are uniform and no longer have any pith. Slice pepper pieces in approximately 1/4 inch width slices and set aside. Now we want to cook and caramelize our crumbled chorizo sausage. Place in a sauté pan over medium-high heat with a small amount of olive oil and cook until slightly caramelized and cooked through. Season with salt if necessary and set aside along with the delicious oils that it's cooked in. This is perhaps one of the best parts of cooking chorizo. At this point, you should finally be able to see some action going on in your caramelized onion pan. As you see caramelization building on the edges of the bottom of the pan, use a very small amount of water and a wooden spoon to deglaze the pan. You will need to continue to deglaze throughout the cooking process. This is the caramelization process at work. Once the onions are nicely caramelized, season with salt and set aside. For your Lyonnaise potatoes, add butter to your pan and half of the caramelized onions. Add a pinch of thyme and the minced garlic and stir or toss to combine. Next, add the sliced potatoes and arrange in a single layer, nestling them into the caramelized onions. Add another pinch of chopped thyme and your liquid components. This could be all stock or a combination of brandy, white wine, and stock. You want to have enough liquid to cover the potatoes about 2/3 of the way. Make sure you bring that liquid to a simmer. Season with a pinch of kosher salt. Cover with a piece of parchment paper and place in a 375-degree oven. Bake until the potatoes are just cooked through and the liquid is reduced to a sauce consistency. Place the remaining caramelized onions in a sauté pan over medium heat. Add a drizzle of olive oil. Stir to combine. Next, add some of the chopped tomatoes and their juices and a few pinches of chopped thyme. It's important to add the tomato in stages as you don't want it to overpower the onion. You want to cook this mixture down slowly until it reaches a jammy consistency. Be careful that it doesn't scorch. Make sure to keep an eye on your heat. Once jammy consistency is reached, add the julienne bell peppers and their reserved juices. Toss to combine. Season with a tiny pinch of sugar, a pinch or two of salt, a pinch of black pepper, and a few healthy drizzles of extra virgin olive oil. Remember that olive oil is a flavor in a proper piperade. Stir to combine, taste and adjust the seasoning. Finish with a small amount of sherry vinegar and more olive oil. Once your potatoes are fully cooked, they can sit at room temperature for a time and be reheated with just a small amount of chicken stock. prepare your chicken, place a small amount of neutral oil in a saute pan over high heat. You can use grapeseed oil, canola, or corn oil. Just make sure the smoke point is very high. Place the chicken in the pan, skin side down, making sure none of the marinade escapes and hits the pan. If it does, it will surely burn before the chicken finishes cooking. Adjust the heat, toggling between medium and medium-high throughout the cooking process. You can place a press over the chicken. In this case, I'm using the bottom of a heavy cast iron skillet. You can just as easily press the chicken using a spatula. I prefer a fish spatula. This process of crisping the chicken skin and cooking the chicken unilaterally from just one side takes time and temperature control. Once the chicken is nicely crisped and cooked through, remove from the pan, place skin side up on a sheet tray with a resting rack. You can deglaze the roasting pan with a small amount of chicken stock or a little bit of white wine, scraping up any brown bits with a wooden spoon. Add a touch more chicken stock and reduce slightly. You can strain this mixture and continue to reduce. You will finish by mounting with a pat of cold butter and a squeeze of fresh lemon juice. To serve, reheat those Lyonnaise potatoes with a little bit of chicken stock. Finish the potatoes with a pinch of chopped chives, a nub of cold butter, and a squeeze of fresh lemon juice. Finish your piperade with a small amount of chicken stock, just enough to get it to that rustic sauce consistency. You can also add a pinch of chopped tarragon, a nub of cold butter, and of course, another healthy drizzle of extra virgin olive oil. Now you're ready to plate. Place the Lyonnaise potatoes on the base of the plate, making sure to use the onions and the stock as a sauce. Top the potatoes with the piperade and its juices, making sure to showcase the beautiful colors. Place the thigh and then the airline breast on top. I tend to use clean hands a lot when plating because I feel they're my best tool. In a classroom kitchen setting or a commercial setting, I would plate with gloves. Spoon a few crumbles of chorizo around the chicken. Spoon the chicken jus over the chicken and onto the plate. Garnish the plate with a few crispy parsley florets. Bon appetit!